The problem is piloting. People are cheating. Now, saying they can't cheat, that's an administrative solution, but the ultimate solution is to design an environment where cheating is either not possible or not incentivized.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Podcast of Champions. Now, this is a project that Idelest and I have been thinking about and talking about for a while now, talking about how excited we are and how much we want to get something like this going, a long-form venue for talking about this game that's so much more complex and getting more complex and all the things around it. Now, we get into that in this intro episode quite a bit, what we're excited about, guests, what we see for the future of the podcast. We just kind of intro you to the whole thing. We get tangential as well. We talk about all sorts of stuff. And more importantly, we ask what you guys want to hear from a podcast, because while we're excited about this podcast, we want to cover a lot of the stuff that you care about. So sit back, relax, enjoy the episode, and at the end, let us know what you think.
Okay, so this is, what are we saying? We're going to call ourselves the Podcast of Champions, I think,
yeah.
right?
Oh, yeah. I think that sounds good.
You happy with that?
Yeah, I think it's good.
So yeah, this is going to be the first episode, and we thought we would start off by telling everybody who's probably already familiar with us, but you might not know, and hopefully we can pick up some new people along the way. So Cade, why don't you tell everybody who you are? Yeah,
definitely. So basically, I'm Cade. IGN is, I don't know if you guys, if any of you guys come to the stream or whatever, it's changed a few times, but IGN is Cade. I'm MCOCer since what? I'm trying to remember. Right before Age of Ultron, the movie came out. I remember a buddy kind of introduced me to MCOC. Played it for a little while, then kind of dropped it for maybe about a year. Played in 2016, all the way till October last year. Retired, came back, and now 6.5 months later, kind of back to it. But I've been, ever since kind of retiring and starting again, I've been doing the YouTube thing. There's just a lot of stuff that I kind of wanted to do differently this time and kind of share my experience and see how quickly I could progress this account and all that kind of stuff. So I thought doing YouTube and all that would be more fun. And now I think with, I don't know, there's been a few podcasts here and there, and I think the podcast format is really, really well suited to MCOC. So it's kind of, we've been talking about this for a while, and now we're podcasting it as well. So we're living the dream. I know. There's a Cade. There's a really good trailer for Cade on his channel. He does a good description of sort of what he does, how he started YouTube and everything. It's a short watch, and it's really cool. I tried to, dude. People have been very kind about that. It's off a template, so I can't take all the credit. But it was. I felt like if I'm going to start this, it's got to be with a bang or something. I have to update it now that the challenge is over. But totally, yeah. So yeah, and I'm Idelest. I've been playing a while. I don't remember exactly when I started, but it sort of took over my life a little bit. I play like every day. I think neither of us are free to play players, but I don't think either of us are big spenders either. So we're just a couple of guys who are sort of in the end game. I've been in kind of avoiding top tier alliances, not on purpose, just I got stuck with a group of friends of mine that I just really like, and so I've been in sort of a upper mid tier alliance for most of my time in MCOC, and started doing YouTube when Joel Line quit, or maybe a little bit before he quit, but he started playing like Fortnite or something, so I was like, okay, yeah. I'll watch that, Joel, but I'm missing content now. yeah. So I started making my own. So yeah, that's me. And I started talking to Cade about a podcast potentially, because we both, or at least I personally, I listen to podcasts nearly all day, every day, and I really like the format. I just like hearing voices in my head, and I think a lot of people are the same. It kind of helps, in a weird way, it helps me focus at work. And so I wanted to do something, talk about the game. I think it's funny you see so much of this community kind of doing that with YouTube too, with the streams and stuff. So I think like people just kind of put it on in the background and just like while they're driving or whatever. So I think totally. I think it's definitely well suited for it. And I don't know. I think it's a unique kind of vibe. I think Joel kind of influenced both of us so much, with those like discussion type, champ reviews, the things like that. I think that kind of format would work so well on a podcast. So that kind of got us excited about the idea.
Yeah, so we'll be aware that this is audio only, and we'll try and avoid stuff like look at that or check this out, and so we'll be aware that everyone is mostly listening to this, and we'll see how we handle editing. We might end up throwing images and stuff on for the YouTube formats, but we're gonna try and keep this mostly for ears only. So hope
and
you guys enjoy it.
I think the plan's going to be get him we'll get him on the channels as well for those people for whom it's easier to watch on YouTube.
Yep.
But
we're just gonna blast it.
Exactly. We'll have the podcast one too for whomever wants to. It's more convenient for so many people to just do it through the app.
Good stuff. So you guys. So the plan for us. Anyway, Cade and I talked about this beforehand, but yeah, Cade, you're on board with starting this whole thing on Labyrinth. So
definitely,
Labyrinth, at least for me, it was one of the things that I looked forward to doing on YouTube, and streamed it. And then when you're done, and I noticed this with a bunch of other content creators, everybody was like finishing up Labyrinth and saying, "Oh, I'm gonna come out with a guide." Like a big Labyrinth guide. Yep. It's gonna be the end of all guides. Nobody's gonna have a question about Labyrinth again because they're just gonna look up my guide and I'm gonna get 1 million views and not one of us posted anything. Yeah. I mean, I think we had a few like Labyrinth summaries, like, oh, it took me this many items. Yeah. This fight was hard. That fight wasn't hard. You should bring this. But there was nothing like super in depth, and that's because it's hard. It's a huge topic. So
very true. And it's especially when you have to, like, you throw video editing in the mix and you're going back and scouring through content from your runs and all that. Exactly. It's so much easier. And I think like Idelest was the one that suggested this, and I think it's such a good format for like a long form kind of like a podcast format. Just taking these lines and actually talking through them, and you can spend a lot more time with video. People's attention spans are shorter too. You have to really edit down, and so I think I think it's gonna be such a fun thing just walking through all this stuff, because you get so many questions. You're so burned out from lab when you first finish, and then you get so many questions, and people are like, "Hey, can you do those guides?" And I'm like, "I really want to, but it's just it's not as simple as just like just getting them out, snapping your fingers, and they're done."
I received like one guy commenting like every week when I was posting a new video, like, "Hey, where's your Labyrinth guide? Where's your Labyrinth guide?" Yeah. And he just gave up one day. I was like, "Oh, okay, sorry, I never got it out."
Exactly.
I mean, I didn't even start.
Yeah. No, I think I'll still probably do some, but it'll be just it again. There's so many unique advantages to being able to spend a long time talking about these things and going really in depth, whereas. With videos, you're doing broad strokes. Like the longest you could go possibly is like 15 or 20 minutes before people are like, all right. So yeah, no, I think it makes a lot of sense. I'm excited.
Yeah, we'll be diving really deep into it. But so I finished lab like a couple months ago, maybe early this year, and Cade, you're recently, right?
Yeah, I think it's been. I'm trying to think. Maybe 3 weeks. It could be longer. But maybe about 3 weeks. I did those first two paths pretty much back to back. I mean, 2 weeks after the other, because I had expiring revives that people had donated. I wasn't going to let them expire. And then the other 5, like back to back to back. I was like, no, I'm finishing this. It's done. I know a lot of people are like, oh, don't finish. Like, like leave something, like do it slowly and cherish it. I'm like, I'm going to cherish it while I do it quickly, because I'm ready for these rewards and to be done.
Yeah, I do preach that a little bit, like take it slow, one path at a time.
Yeah.
A lot of people in my alliance, I don't know about yours, but I'm pretty sure I am one of 2 or 3 people who have finished it, and we've got everybody knocking out paths. Like maybe once a week, somebody finds a Ronin or finds a Rhino.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's. Are you guys mostly 100%?
Dude, if they found a Rhino, I'm jealous, because I couldn't find a Rhino on any of the paths.
Oh,
we've got a bunch, and actually, I think that's like we kind of have had this like half of the dudes that are really pushing hard towards 100%, and half the guys that are like, I think pretty much everyone's done with the easy path. But I think being free to play or not being free to play makes a difference too. Some people use units to get through them and stuff. So you do have this natural, like this built-in buffer, you're like, oh, I've got to restock and all that stuff. But I would say maybe close to half are either 100% or they're almost there, like they're like a path or two away.
Okay,
and then
that's
a few
good,
are on
good
the
amount. Just
like done with easy path, and then looking towards the rest of it.
It's such a good piece of content. Like I think it sits up there with Act 5.
I agree.
As most engaging piece of content in the game. The fights are so long.
Yeah.
It takes months to do on a regular pace.
Yeah.
I mean, even people like I'm trying to remember. I think was it Legacy or Brian that tried to do it like in 1 week in order to get shards. Before
I think it was Legacy, right?
Yeah,
and then I think Vex did it as
God.
well for Blade Day. He did a lot of it that 1 week.
It was just so brutal, and you're just like, this guy's doing it like basically nonstop, and it still took him a week.
Yeah. No, it's tough, dude. It's tough.
Yeah. That's the kind of content we love. Like, I hope that they come out with a version 2.0.
I think so. Yeah,
soon.
I think so too. I know they've said like, oh no, well, we're not gonna. But I'm hoping this one's like the next thing we see, because I know they just want to share stuff. And I agree with you. I think just having people like Lab as a whole, and I know we don't want to talk about it too much because we're going to talk so in depth on the other stuff.
There's no way we can exhaust the topic.
Yeah,
so.
That's true. But it just Lab as a whole, like you see a player's progression as they go through it. Like even with this, like coming back to the game, like I had been a relatively advanced player going into it, but I think back to my like first path versus my seventh path, you could just see like I don't know, it makes you fight differently. There's a lot of unique stuff about it. There's a lot of fights you have to approach uniquely. A lot of things that you're like, I don't know how that's gonna go. And so
you 100% get better. You develop your skills,
Yep.
and if you don't go back into Labyrinth every once in a while, you actually deteriorate a little bit.
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
I don't intercept nearly as much as I used to. I just eat the block damage and throw a potion on.
Yeah. I go once in a while. I go practice backdrafting or seeing AI behavior and things like that in there. It's fun to take like Star-Lord in there against Star-Lord and just anytime just to build up the numbers. But yeah.
So I don't know how unique this was, but I feel like it's unique that I did my first path with a 550, my second path with a 455. And 3 through 7 with a 565. So I was able to sort of get the range of difficulty.
Nice.
With all 3 levels of champion. Because the 455 was more of a spontaneous decision. I pulled Sparky.
Yeah.
And I was in Labyrinth like hours later.
Yeah. Star-Lord for the first path, yeah?
550 Star-Lord, yeah.
Dude, I thought I was going to have to do that on this account. That's a great perspective to have like every one of them. Like for me, it was Blade for everything but 455 for the first one, and then
right, okay,
565.
Yeah, because that's not a perspective that will ever be seen. No one's gonna do Labyrinth with a 550 anymore.
Very true.
We'll get to that, but that's not gonna be recommended by anybody.
Yeah, especially with the state of the game now. Plus, you would think like you would probably be at the level where you're at least maybe. Well, again, yeah, you're right. We'll talk about it, but where you're clearing Act 5 or something right before you're like. Really like, okay, I'm gonna do lab, like it's different like skill wise, but I would say they're cousins certainly as far as what's required of you, so
yeah, that's gonna be a whole philosophy thing, like what is the proper order of progression.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, as far as like Labyrinth 2.0, oh my god, I'm hoping for something.
Dude, there's
so brutal,
so much exciting,
so difficult.
Stuff. Yeah,
I'm hoping for something that like, even if you sat down and just grinded, it would take you like a month.
Yeah,
like I don't want to be able to finish this fast. So we'll see what happens. I'm trying to think like how I noticed that with like the Thanos fight that they can break fights up into stages.
Yeah, and
I wonder can they get it in such a way where these fights last a lot longer due to those stages, rather than the enrage timer, which basically just like what they did with this one is they said with Labyrinth 1.0 they just said millions of hit points
Yeah.
and a time limit.
Yeah.
I think they can get more creative.
Oh,
for the
yeah.
second
And it's
round.
been, what, 2 years? Over 2 years since the first one came out. So, like, the game's progressed so much since then. I mean, you can tell how much or how, like, the state that the game was in by the the encounters you find in lab. Like, it's all like these old champs, like.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's a good point. Yeah, you never see. See, that's an interesting way they could potentially design Labyrinth 2.0 is do you remember MODOK's lab?
Yep.
Like I'm not trying to go that random.
Yeah.
But they could potentially have new characters get shuffled in to a challenge.
Ooh, interesting.
To keep it interesting,
Yeah,
and then this could be a challenge that you could potentially rerun with a different setup to get rewards, like farm it a little bit.
Yeah.
Like you're like, okay, this month I'm thinking about doing another labyrinth run, even though I've explored it. Like this, you know how like you can get a sig stone for exploring LOL right now.
Yeah.
But maybe something a little better.
Yeah. Well, and you could have the nodes could be similar, so you have some sort of like what to expect, but you don't know what champ you're getting on said node, or like that enigmatic, like different champs, but with that enigmatic. Like it'd be interesting. It'd be a fun way to do it, definitely.
I think that would be great, and it would definitely it may have some more planning involved. Like the way that they'd have to set it up though very specifically. Like they wouldn't want an impossible situation. So they have to consider all the.
It's got to be fun. I have
there.
faith in them with what they did with the Thanos fight and everything. I really do have faith in how they're handling it and what they're doing.
They showed potential,
Yeah,
like for all the crap we give that company. Like,
yeah. I think
they have their moments.
They've probably spent a lot of time on development and all that. I mean, I'm sure the team has grown, and but just the way they approach character design and champs and stuff has grown a ton. So, man, I'm excited as we talk about all this stuff. I'm just thinking like how many episodes, like how many things we can talk about on subsequent episodes.
Yeah, I think we were saying like we could. It looks like at least in our notes here that we could do a whole season on just when to do your first path.
Oh yeah, it's crazy.
Like multiple episodes on planning. So it's gonna be a fun time talking about all that.
Definitely, and we'll think. I mean, we're still it's still something that we're working on, but we might even break them up. We were talking about into like different categories, right? So you'll have the episodes that are more just updates, things that are coming out, and talking about like the stuff that's coming out now, episodes for like beginners, like we were talking about potentially doing episodes on how to prioritize your units when you're getting started, and mastery progression path stuff and all that, and then episodes for endgame players like the lab stuff and all, and we can find a way to make it in the numbering so people know, okay, this one's like an update one, like every week we talk about what's new, or whatever it might be, so that people can really target those episodes that they're interested in.
Yeah, definitely. We will and Labyrinth is mostly just a way for us to box up a little first project.
Yeah, definitely.
It's a nice way, a nice topic that does have borders that we can talk about, and then we can be done with when we're done.
I agree.
So, and then we just move on to other topics like current events and
it's a piece of content
events
that really doesn't change. I mean, the characters that might come out that you might want to take in there, you'll have more options a year from now than before. But as far as approaching the nodes and how to think about them and all that stuff, that's going to remain relevant, which I think should be helpful to people for a while.
Definitely, I think so. I hope so.
Yeah.
Otherwise, what the hell are we doing?
Yeah, that's true.
Just talking to each other.
Yep.
But that can be entertaining.
It's fun too. Yeah.
So anyway, and by the way, so for wherever we end up putting this statement, we want to hear after this episode when people listen to it and stuff. We want everyone to let us know what exactly are the topics that you want covered.
Kind of. And I think the best way I can set this up, but I think the best way to do it, we can set up a survey. And we can put it in the descriptions of the videos and the description of the podcast itself, so that people can just kind of, give us a sentence or two or however many they want on what they would like the podcast to be. I know there's other podcasts, there's other great podcasts for MCOC. We want to go kind of a different vibe, more like a discussion style and just kind of laid back and cover stuff in depth and all that. So I think and you hear it all the time. You hear it on the stream, like, oh, you guys should do a podcast, or someone should start a podcast, or and there are some.
Well, that's why people love listening to those streams.
Yeah.
And it's always the streams that have multiple people on.
Yeah,
you know?
I agree. There's
Those
so
are the
much to
best.
discuss and such a need for just good discussion, like community discussion about the game. And so I think we'll put a survey in there so people can just kind of vote, and we can word cloud it. Don't worry about that stuff. Like, people can just say what they want to hear, and then we can use whatever survey software, whatever we use, to kind of see what the most pressing topics are, and just start planning episodes that way.
Yeah, definitely. And we'll come out. Eventually, we'll settle on a schedule. We'll settle on a length. I'm not sure how long. Like, we'll try and keep everything. Not like, I know some podcasts I listen to are like 3.5 hours long each one.
Yeah.
Not trying to do that.
Definitely not.
we have real lives.
Yeah, and we can ask people too what they like to listen to, like what length, because I know people have more patience for podcasts. There's some 1 hour podcasts I listen to that just breeze by. I listen to like what's his name, like Fat Man on Batman, Kevin Smith's podcast, and sometimes he goes for a few hours, and I'm there. So I think we can ask people and see what they think, what their ideal length is.
Yep, and I also expect that over time, just in general, those things tend to grow. So we'll develop a sort of repertoire, or whatever you want to call it.
Definitely, yeah, that's true.
A way to keep the topics expanding, and we're gonna be having guests on too. Hopefully,
that's gonna be so. That's
I've reached out to a couple of people, and there's definitely interest.
That's the exciting thing, which we didn't mention as we go through the labyrinth episodes and the labyrinth paths. We'll have like a special guest for each one that we can go in depth. Like, there's so many endgame players that are also YouTubers, that have cleared the thing and would have so much interesting insight. So the topics that we cover, we're talking about potentially like doing a unit farming episode. There's so many. There's a lot. But having guys like Brian, who's got like some of the ultimate resources on unit farming for free to play players on those episodes, like there's so much exciting stuff. And of course, that's not confirmed with Brian. We were just like spitballing. We'll have to reach out and chat with everybody about that stuff. But it's just exciting that I'm excited at the prospect of what we could do with these episodes.
Definitely. Okay, so I think it's a good time to get into wrapping up the seasons, just because they just ended.
Yeah.
Talk about Alliance War a little bit, and then we can close it out.
So much.
A little bit after that,
and we'll have an episode coming up soon about the most immediate change. I think a lot of that stuff is in flux, the stuff relating to diversity and all that. But we're definitely devoting an episode to that. That's fresh right now. Who knows if it's final or whatever. So we'll have an episode on that. But I think that the bigger thing, now is just kind of chatting a little bit about the like season in review. Like, we've got 2 seasons. We've had 2 seasons of this new AW system. And it's
what'd you think of season 2?
I thought it was great. I think it's really like it was finding its, personal alliance things aside, and some of the matchmaking, which still needs work. And, it's certainly like all of the stuff with piloting and all that presented their own problems. But overall, as a season, so not specific situations, I think it was fantastic. I think it got better than season 1. I think they're
better than season 1. Agreed.
Yep, I think they're homing in on a formula that's really working. I think with like diversity, and again, we'll go more in depth in subsequent episodes. But I think like diversity's finding a sweet spot in there. There's unique defenders. You're having to really plan for your paths. Like it I don't know. It's really like you can kind of. I don't know. You can strategize, know exactly what you need to win. It was getting pretty exciting. They're a little long, and obviously they're addressing that in the next season. And 8 weeks is a long time to just keep grinding 3 wars a week. But,
side note, both Cade and my alliances went through a little bit of trauma in season 2.
Yeah, dude.
Nothing to do with not entirely, but
tell them about yours.
Yeah, I'll say we actually had a war search failure, as in we searched for like 3+ hours, 4+ hours. I don't remember how many hours, but we have a war schedule that we follow. We've been following for 2 years. I mean, we've never missed a war. with this tactic, and then during the season, all of a sudden we miss our war, and so we missed an entire war, and we were competing for Plat 1, and that's to say we were kind of comfortably in Plat 2. Plat 1 was within reach if we really pushed, but we were very happy where we were. But then that just pushed us all the way into Platinum 3, and we lost a lot of motivation. We had, I think, our last 2 wars, we just didn't even use units or items. We just said, look, there's no way we can fall out of Plat 3, and there's no way we can push to Plat 2. So guys, take it easy, and we'll try this again next season.
Yeah, dude, it's such a bummer. And I think it all kind of comes down to matchmaking, really. I mean, I think they're trying to figure out how to do things. Ours was all of the alliances, not all of the alliances, but many of the alliances that were getting docked. Our rating was going. We were 20 in the mid 2800s. And so we faced Legion, who didn't get docked for anything, but that was just a weird matchup. Like they were 500 points above
they
us.
happen,
Yeah, exactly. It's fine. We knew we'd lose that one. But then we started, we hit D69 next, who had just dropped from Master, and there was no difference really between them and Legion when you look at their defenses. It was the same thing. Right. You're facing a Master Alliance. Lost that one handily. And not only that, this is what kind of screwed us for the season. I was hoping you would tell this. Yeah, we got stuck on a 565 Iron Man Infinity War on, is it 44 or no? Is it
46?
46, yeah, on the left side on path 1. It's hard to remember all the numbers of the nodes on each, but yeah, 46.
For people who don't know, that's the double power gain or 200% power gain node on the top left corner of the map.
Yeah, so it's a 565. We didn't have a backup with a Hyperion. We hadn't seen him there yet, much less a 565. And then he goes to that 15% phase, and you don't have an in, right? Like he's just he's going, he's getting his own power gain on his specials, and he's getting power gain from the node, and you just can't our guys couldn't get him down. We tried to double up and all that. So because of that, we were, trying to clear from both sides. It was tough defenses, but we really had no business playing a team like that. They shouldn't have been. They were comfortably still in Plat 1, facing alliances that were in Plat 2. Yeah. And we got stuck on it, and then we couldn't clear that Morningstar boss, especially that left one is power gain, right? A 5MD, 565 Morningstar with power gain.
Now you've got a boss with power gain.
Yeah, we got her halfway down. We had a little bit of trouble on the right side too, but we had her down to half. I think I spec'd suicides, everything. We tried to get through this boss. I don't remember the last time we didn't clear a map, but it just totally took us by surprise. It was crisis mode, and not clearing that boss with a multiplier left us 120k points behind. Yikes. So with that stuff, we ended up facing Vietnamese as well later, which was another alliance that had just dropped some of the collusion stuff, and it ended up we had 2 wars that were very fair losses. We should have won at least one of those. But because of that 5-war slide, and we won our last one handily, but because of that 5-war slide, including those 3 master allies, it really put us in a bad spot. We hadn't in either season lost more than 2 in a row max. We'd go 2-1, win-loss, 2-1, 1-1, 2-1, 1-1. And we ended up Plat 3 in first place, which nothing hurts more than first place in that bracket. We were so close, and you look at Plat 2 and all the teams we beat throughout the season repeatedly, and you're like,
Unfortunately, we never faced each other.
I know, that would have been so much fun. That would have been good. I got to face Mutamat, Ilac.
Okay. Where's Mutamat in?
He's Smarties. Is it Smarties? He used to be in Prime. I think he's in Smarties, and they had a great team. Okay. I think they ended up in Plat 1. Great team. That was a fun matchup.
He runs a Psylocke, right, on offense?
I don't know. Does he? I think he definitely runs his Ghost Rider. And I think he takes that debuff in Mutant Mini. I don't know. We'll have to have Muta on sometime and chat about that stuff. But
do you know? So we placed a 455 Iron Man on that node 46, and no kills.
Dude, we were trying the same after that. We were trying the same thing. We're like, oh, this guy's gonna get kills. And
I don't know. The guy did it with a 550 Ghost Rider, dude, man.
Ghost Rider I think people do sleep on Ghost Rider for that. I've heard if you save Power your luck. SP3 for that last 15%, dude, people sleep on him for that. I never even thought about it until recently. Someone said something, and I was like, why am I not taking it? Because Ghost Rider's tough. Unless you have him at 565, there's very many fights that you don't want to take with him because he doesn't have the damage to finish. And So it's that's the it's interesting. I'm gonna start thinking about Ghost Rider a little bit more for things like that. But it was just we
tried him on All or Nothing as well because it's an armor node. And I think we got one kill. Here's the thing: is everyone freaked out about this defender, but he's not that amazing.
Yeah.
How many times have you seen people get hit by him? He doesn't hit very hard.
Yeah,
it's not like when you mess up versus Medusa and one hit does 15,000 damage, and that's it. You're done.
Yeah.
And with Iron Man, you can eat multiple 5-hit combos from him.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and you're fine, and you can take the block damage most of the time. It'll be interesting once we, the nodes change in the next season. But,
well, that's true.
Yeah.
There's going to be some node changes.
But yeah, it's very true. I think he's not, I don't know. I think a lot of people ranked him for defense, and if people are talking about, with season 3, depending on what happens with this diversity, thing, people are talking about, you're going to see lines of 5c5 Iron Man Infinity Wars, but to me, I don't know. I mean, there's a danger of timing out.
I'm just here I'm going to bring up my Proxima Midnight.
Oh, yeah, that's true. And Corvus, and we've got to do the 5cc5 Corvus. It just slices through stuff, dude. It's nice.
Yeah, this game has become more and more hard counters. Gladiator Hole countering Dormammu and Corvus and Proxima countering Iron Man, and it's a very it's very rock paper scissors at the moment.
You can see how they're developing characters for specific situations too. I feel like they've got a very in-depth view of things. I remember back in the day, talking about, well, do they have devs that can play the game well or whatever? We haven't seen much gameplay from devs for this game and things, but it seems like, I don't, whether they can or not, I'm sure there's some guys that are beastly on the dev team, but they certainly do know the intricacies of, and sometimes it takes us a little while. Do you remember when I was going through the uncollected quests for the Corvus and Proxima? We were looking at their abilities and we're like, these guys aren't going to be good for any, what? They're so niche. It takes us
useless.
a while.
What is this?
Yeah.
Armor break on Perry? Thor's got that.
Yeah, you got to take down a mutant. Yeah, it was just it was a weird, the missions
that was before
were niche.
Iron Man came out. They released the cure before they sold the disease.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. They know. Then they've got their development schedule. They know exactly what they're doing. So I think it makes for some exciting stuff. Exciting, not because it's not that those are the only counters. There's certainly old champs that counter, but it makes for interesting ways of thinking about fights. It's just forced offensive diversity, really, is what it is. And,
I kind of like it. I like the long ability descriptions. They're fun to get through. Sometimes they're a little too. I think Domino's is ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's
crazy.
30 pages.
Yeah, and 7 synergies.
But overall, I enjoy the complexity.
Yeah.
I think the first champion I really had to think about how to use was Phoenix.
Oh, okay.
Just managing those Furies was something totally new when she came out.
Yeah.
And then I think Ghost Rider came out shortly after, right?
I think so. Yeah, I think Ghost Rider was
a whole nother thing.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember back to those. That was I'd been 3 months back in the game or something when those champs are coming out. Yeah, I think my my really clear memory of the release schedule probably starts around Ghost Rider. Maybe I think the next month was Howard and Hyperion.
I remember the power gain in the event quest. Ghost Rider's power gain was insanity.
Oh yeah.
And I was just I remember not how am I supposed to kill this? Dude, I was so confused.
Power gain was their go-to. It was their back pocket trick. They were that master quest boss. Let's just put double power gain on him. That's what they had. They had power. The Cable was the same way. I'm how do I stop his power? Yep.
Yeah. I remember. I think the first, my first desire to get competitive came after. Do you know who Ronan Noop is?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So he was the mastery guru back in the day.
Yeah.
If for people who don't know, I don't even think he plays. He might not even play anymore.
I don't think he does. Yeah. He's the co-founder of Swerkit, that app, that workout app, and so I think things just got busy.
He was on Shark Tank.
Yeah.
So anyway, he put out a video during the Dormammu event quest of his Iron Fist, his
so
455 good. Iron Fist, the maximum power Iron Fist you can get in the game.
Yeah.
He goes into this Dormammu and he does a 5-hit combo and then launches a special 2 and just one shots this Dormammu.
He used to be the legend runner. He used to be one of the he and Shaw used to compete for place 1 and spot 1 and 2 in the legend runs. And because of the armor breaks and the way it used to work, it was beyond 100% for armor breaks. That's why people ask about, oh, will pure skill be fixed? Well, it is kind of like, it's not going to get any better because it relied on breaking past 100% armor, which is one of the things they fixed with 12.0. Yeah. And so
it's quote unquote working as intended. At the moment.
Exactly. Just don't put more than 3 points in there, even if you are going to put points in. But but yeah, you could break armor like past 100%. Iron Fist was super legit back then because of it. Like all the armor breakers, obviously Thor, all of them. But you could just, I don't know, you'd get these because of the percentage-based values, these like well beyond 100% armor breaks and crazy like damage specials or whatever. And yeah, it was game over.
Yep.
Like
there was a way to kill Realm of Legends Wolverine with one hit using Thor.
Yep, definitely.
You could parry all the way until your special 3.
Yeah.
And then you would just parry. I think it was like 5 times in a row.
Yeah.
If you could just time that right, and then all of a sudden Wolverine is just KO'd.
There's such great videos about that too. That was, I mean, people wanted their Thor Awakened so bad. That S2 hit so hard too with the armor breaks. And people used to play, we'll have to talk about this like OG Masteries, but people used to play with Perfect Block in order to increase parry time, right? Because parry time increases with Perfect Block chance. And so you didn't want to max Stupefy. You wanted him to come out of those things. If you ran Thor everywhere, you wanted him to come out of those stuns quickly, so you could go back to back stuns and stack those armor breaks. And so people would try to get the perfect between parry, Stupefy, and Perfect Block. Try to get the perfect, like length of stun.
Yes, so, it's one thing people don't realize is the old God tier champions are in a whole nother realm of the new God tier champion. The old gods would destroy the new gods.
Yeah, exactly.
Take a Scarlet Witch or Thor or even Doctor Strange, his regen was better than anybody else's, and they would just slaughter like Blade and Stark Spider-Man.
So good. So many war, like all those meta war champs. Like if you had a Doctor Strange and a Scarlet Witch, you were running the game, man. Like it was.
There was no way to lose.
Yeah, yeah.
You could just. I remember Seaton did a Realm of Legends speed run with a 550 Scarlet Witch. He did it in like 30 minutes.
Yep. He got it,
and he was just reading the chat the whole time. Like,
yeah, it was just he just pressing.
Well, I
buttons.
don't know if he was live. I can't remember, but he was basically just. They were in their corner the whole time. And they were permanent stunned.
Yeah,
it was hilarious.
It's crazy. He got his legend badge with Scarlet Witch. B Manny got his legend badge with Scarlet Witch. It was the same month. I remember B Manny popping into the chat and saying, "Hey." He was just a dude, He had like 2 videos on his channel, but he was like, "Oh, I just got my legend badge." Like followed your lead and got my legend badge, and
yeah,
it's funny how small this community is, Like it. I just remember that name because I was like, "B Manny, this guy's a legend. I'll follow him in case I want to ask him for advice on becoming a legend at some point." It was just, it's funny.
Yeah, now those tags is just like.
Yeah.
Oh
whatever,
man.
Yeah.
Did you get yours yet with your new account?
I did. Yeah, I got it for the nameless month. I placed 3rd.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
That's really quick.
Thanks. Thanks.
Who did you use?
Blade. It's one of my, although I'm not a legend runner, like a guy who just wants to be a repeat legend runner to chase the legend board, I have so much fun like planning legend runs and optimizing. I'm never shooting for like, if I could only get top 100, I'm just like, no, I want to push. And so I did the first one on the first account with Black Panther in whichever month the Kingpin one was, September or something.
Oof, I don't know.
October or September. It was September, and got 11th, and then 9th or 3rd with this. I think it was 11th, something like that. 11th or 9th. Or either way,
it takes a couple tries if you're not. If you're trying to get it as early as possible.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I didn't want to.
You're not going to get it your first try unless you're coming in with like a 565 right now.
For this one? Yeah, if you're a new.
Well, actually, you won't make it at all without a 565 at this point.
Except for Corvus. Corvus 455 got number 1 in Tom and Chadwick's.
No.
Yeah.
Well, that's
we'll have to do.
That's something, isn't it?
I'm super, super pumped. We'll have to do a legend run episode because I feel like I've been wanting to do a video on it. All of us, like.
Oh, that's another thing too. I was like, one day I'll come out with a tutorial how to become a legend.
Yeah.
Nope.
I just feel like people don't optimize for nearly enough. Like it's just, every single time I've run,
3 out of 3 recoil, man.
Dude, I had. Oh, you know what? I tested 3 out of 3 recoil and didn't feel like I could make it. Like if you mess up a couple specials and you don't end the fight with them, because you don't want to use too many specials because the animations, but you end up losing too much health, 10% each time. Like it ends up like you lose so much.
It depends
health
on which champion you bring in.
True,
for
that's
sure.
true too.
Like for example, Corvus. If you're using a special, it's probably to kill, right?
Over,
That's what I'm guessing.
Oh yeah.
And then same with Stark Spider-Man. If you throw a special attack, it should be over.
Definitely,
that's the only reason.
And that's definitely like it's the goal. The only thing I've found with that stuff is you end up you extend the length of the fight. If you can just get 2 blocked hits into a block after a combo, that's going to go a lot quicker than an SP1 animation.
Fair enough.
Little things like that. So it. And once in a while you'll throw a special thinking it's going to kill them, and you take the the damage, and you're like, worst. Oh man.
There's like a weird. I saw something about a 1% bug. Like, I don't know if this is an actual bug, but people were saying that they keep like launching specials that they're pretty sure are going to get the kill, and it always leaves them with 1%.
Oh, weird.
You know? So like, I've noticed it too, but I always just assume it's just me poor judgment. Like I shouldn't have launched the special.
That's interesting.
Another hit. See, but it was fun. It was something I saw on the forums or something, and I was like, I wonder if this is real.
Yeah, that's why I like bleeders a lot for legend runs. Like it was the same in September. I knew like I was going up against Gwenpools. I was like, what is Black Panther even gonna do it? But I think if you get your planning done right and all that, I think like bleed champs is in particular. I mean, you got passive AI and all that. Like, there's a lot of work going on behind the scenes while they're, even if they're passive or holding block or, like it's working for you.
I think Red Hulk's gonna have a good shot at it these days.
Oh yeah,
with the new synergies, you can start with like 3 or 4 heat charges.
Definitely, it's nice to see more options than just the the standard ones that we used to have.
Totally, yeah. But Corvus, I can't wait for Corvus to come around in the 15K crystals. I'm gonna go nuts for him.
Yeah. Oh, dude, the 6 stars. Everybody's pulling him as a 6-star. I'm like, man.
So jelly. I just opened a 6-star crystal. Like, I got King Groot.
Oh, dude. Little Joe did too. It was just, it's like the worst 6-star. Yeah, I know.
It's just not that fun to play with. I mean, if he's awakened, I can actually like see myself having fun with the regen. But.
Yeah. I remember a lot of people who, especially guys who used to run single suicides. I mean, doesn't matter for him, but single suicides who would just be like, he's like the ultimate AQ clear, just unlimited regen. And I'm like, it would just be, I agree, in that sense that unlimited regen, but like, you would just.
I'm definitely gonna
be fun.
I'm gonna be working hard, I think, to build a suicide defense, and I want to get back to running suicides at some point.
Do you grind a lot? You grind a lot of arena?
I mean, I hit the 2,000 shards every time.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah,
I have like, I'm waiting. 4th of July is coming up soon. I don't know when we're gonna release this, but I have over 5 million battle chips saved up.
Dude, that's so crazy. You always have like that and like what 15,000 units, whatever you had before.
Yep, I try and stay over 10,000 units. I try and stay over 12,000 glory.
No, okay.
Dude. And I try and stay over 1 million loyalty.
That's crazy. You're the dude who would wait for the second marshmallow in that experiment. Like you're
easily.
Dude, you guys are like the best when it comes to like that kind of stuff. I feel like so many people in this game, myself included, are so like, oh, we've got a 10,001 5-star shards. I'm opening it now. Like I don't even have time to hit record on my video.
Oh yeah, I hoard 4-star shards now, just so that I can get to the next 5-star when I'm trying to do an opening.
Oh, nice.
So you know what I mean? Like I'll like, oh, it's time to pop like 24 stars just because I need those extra shards. Like I think a while ago I was doing an opening and I was able to pull like 7,000 or 8,000 5-star shards out of nowhere, dude, out of my account, because I needed the extra shards. So, but it takes time. Like, you have to do nothing for months.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, just grind and.
It makes sense. Yeah. I think it's a good way to not have to always like constantly sell ISO too.
Yeah, but it's a good way. Yeah, it's true, and it's a good way to capitalize on the offers, though. Like the Vision comes around, you need those units.
Yeah.
Say you really wanted Gold Pool. I mean, you needed to whale out for him if you wanted him.
Yeah, dude. I wish I kind of wanted to get Vision at the time, even though it was like an exorbitant amount, because mine would have been paying. I know you said like, oh, we're both free to play, but we're not big. I've had periods, like recently, not so much, but I've certainly had my periods of time where I've not anything near the big boys, but once in a while I'm like, wow, like it's
Yeah,
I've been spending too much this month or this this period of 2 or 3 months, but nowadays it just doesn't seem. There was a time when things seemed very appealing because the deals were offering a lot of progression. You get to a point where they're not really. It's just saving you a little bit of time.
One tier 2 alpha is not going to tempt me at all.
Exactly.
Like, I don't know. I think I've never bought an Odin, so to speak. As in, like, I've only ever got them when they're attached to something amazing.
Yeah. No, that's a good strategy.
I can count, like, I think on my one hand how many times I've gone out for one of those.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It happens, but it's, see, when you do hoard units, you don't feel the need to just what do I need 3,000 extra units for?
True.
If I've already got them.
Helps with everything too. War, like potions, if you're running out of glory. Although I don't think you're running out of glory.
I hoard glory.
Yeah. But
they say don't hoard it, but what I like to do is I like to get to 14,000 before the Alliance quest the week ends, because I'm gonna collect 1,000 glory at the end of it, and I say, okay, well I need to go under 13. Right now, so let me just pick up a few alphas. Oh, I'm low on these potions. I'll pick this up.
Dude, so nice. There's a lot of benefits to having that self-control. Certainly, like it.
Yes, I recommend it to people.
Yeah, and I think that's what I was gonna say about Vision. Like I wanted that deal so bad, although the price was crazy, and I'm glad that I was on a trip and didn't realize. I knew it was a 48-hour one on the 5-star, but I didn't realize you only had 24 hours to actually unlock it with the Odin deal or whatever. But I'm kind of glad I missed it now. He's a phenomenal champ, but I'm like, I don't know if I'd use him on my line. I was watching the maybe it's Namo, the guy. He's one of the guys in Legion. Yeah, he was doing a power shield with him, and because of the way his SP1 and SP2 work, which gives you a lot of advantages in a lot of situations like strike back, but a lot of disadvantages when it comes to stuff like power shield. Like you're not getting the extra damage. It was a Morningstar fight that was like painfully long. It was a timeout, but painfully long.
That was, he should have known that.
Yeah.
That's like a mistake I would make, but he's in a much higher alliance.
It was great. I didn't even realize. I knew how it worked, but I didn't even think about it and the interaction with power shield. Like,
yeah, when I took mine into a Morningstar as well on that node, and I also I wanted to test it. I had no idea what was going to happen.
Yeah.
But if you throw his L3, it does do a significant, a big good chunk.
Damage. Yeah.
It gets boosted.
Yeah, that's interesting. It's how do we end up on this tangent? We talked about like the old gods. We talked about like
I don't know.
I think we started with like AW. So overall, like how we, and you asked me. So let me ask you.
Let's circle back to
what did you think? Season 2. How are you liking seasons?
So yeah, I thought season 2 went okay. The whole piloting thing, even though it came out in season 2, I think most of it happened in season 1.
Yeah.
And so, like, it was a big deal. Mostly I was happy to sort of have the alliance that I'm in and the way we were planning. We were much more settled on paths this time around. Last season I was on path 6 without Void. And it was just brutal.
Yeah, that's tough.
Trying to handle those Medusas, and so we did some pathing switching around in my group, and we were able to. I was able to finally settle on path 5, where I could support path 4 and 6.
Yeah.
With the Vision.
Yeah.
He's got poison and bleed immunity, and then there's a poison and bleed node at the end of those paths. Yeah. So I could we could plan ahead and see like, oh, there's somebody tricky on my node. Can Idelest come this way? So it would kind of be that was fun. So I enjoyed season 2, but we did get screwed kind of by the matchmaking system.
It's tough.
And I have to say this. In general, I really don't like how right now the the only way to get these top tier rewards is in the competitive mode.
Oh yeah.
So I like that that is one way to get part of the rewards. Like I think if it were up to me, I think I would tone down the Alliance War rewards so they're less competitive, and then put them in some sort of farmable single player mode, maybe, or like we were talking about before, like Labyrinth 2.0 or Act 6, something you can get once for the big rewards, and then you can maybe get like very small amounts if you wanted to farm it later on. That's something maybe comparable to an Alliance War season. So you could kind of choose like, okay, I either want to compete in a top tier alliance, or I could compete in a lower tier alliance and supplement those rewards a little bit with some single player mode.
That's true. Yeah.
I don't know. It's one of the reasons why people are piloting. Like, why would you pilot in the beginning? What's the point?
I heard that.
It's because it's the only way.
I heard
it's the only way to win.
Yeah, and you guys were talking about it on the call, which actually we should mention. This will be the intro episode. We'll include that episode because that was the interview you did with the dude. What was his name? Moist. What was his name?
Moist VL. Yeah, he was very nice guy.
Yeah, great dude, great interview, which we talked about. It was like the Inside of Piloting Alliance interview. But somebody brought it up the other night on my stream and was saying like, well, I agree that they're only locked into war. That's a problem. But that was the thing. They were like, people are piloting because these rewards are only locked into there. And I'm like, well, you're skipping a step. Like people are piloting because they're making a decision to cheat in order to get these rewards that are only locked into this
That is
thing,
true.
you know.
But I'm an engineer by training.
Yeah.
And so what there's like the analogy I draw is that like normally when you're talking about like a safety issue, maybe you've got engineering solutions and you've got administrative solutions, and then you've got PPE, which is personal protective equipment, right? Okay, uh-huh. So what I'm thinking, the problem is piloting. People are cheating. Yeah. Now, saying they can't cheat is don't cheat or we'll ban you. Yeah. That's an administrative solution, but the ultimate solution is to design an environment where cheating is either not possible or not incentivized.
Yeah. That makes sense.
So
that makes sense.
I agree. Like, if you're cheating, why? Get out.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
You deserve to be banned. Like, I think a combination of all three types of solutions is what you really want.
I agree. Yeah. I think that'll be the long term solution. It's you just see so many. It's funny that like, well, Kabam. It's almost like this. Like Kabam, the way they handle their game made us do this. And I'm like, what about the other? However many 29,900 alliances that decided not to do that. Like nobody made, like it's kind of a funny thing. But I agree, they need to split the rewards across multiple things, and especially now when you look at the seasons moving forward, the alliances that have been in Master 2 seasons are going to be well ahead of everyone else. Even alliances that would like to push Master have a disadvantage because a lot of the big boys, maybe if you did 2 seasons of Plat 2, you're still okay. If you did not, you might be one full 565 behind the field come season 4, and that's a big deal, especially if you're trying to push at that level. You're at a big disadvantage, because they're only locked into war.
Yeah, like before seasons were announced, it was possible for someone like me who has limited money and fairly limited time to have a similar roster as someone at the very top, as in like, so you only need champions for defense, offense, and questing, right? So you can say you really only need about 8 good champions, and I was able to get all 8 of those ranked up, awakened at 455, 565. No problem. Yeah. So I had basically the same strongest team as who's like at the top of the list. Who's like very good, or something like that. Yeah. Jenser M, our top 8 were fairly similar in strength. Maybe his sig levels are much higher. Yeah. But yeah, at the end of the day, I had a 565 Sparky, and I had a Blade, and I had Iceman, Archangel. I mean, I had these good champions. Yeah. But seasons are off, and they're gonna they're gonna fly away from us.
That's the thing, dude. They control the bottlenecks are what Kabam says the bottlenecks are, and as long as you control, and it's it makes perfect business sense, but they control those resources in the game modes that the very desirable ones, and then people push in that direction or deals. I think it's a little early maybe for T5B deals, but man, they know how scarce these resources are. I think they're still kind of trying to hold on to T2A as a rare resource. I think we're moving past that, but they don't want to give up those deals. Every deal they cheapen, all of a sudden you're like, well, okay, this resource is lost, its value, from a year ago or from whatever. And so I think that it's in their interest probably to keep them as long as they can, to hold on to those things and say, oh, well, this one T2A with bonuses is worth $100, and the community's
God, right.
Nope. But with T5B, man, it's I wouldn't be surprised if it started coming out at some point, in the next maybe half a year, just a trickle.
Yeah, I could see that too. Yeah. I mean, definitely the rate of flow should increase. I looked it up. I think I took my last 455 up in May.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at my next one in August at the earliest. And if I want that 455 to actually be a 565, I'm talking September.
Yeah.
So we're talking 4 months.
It's a long time.
Between rank ups here, what am I supposed to do in the meantime?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and especially if you're wanting to push, and you're fighting alliances that already have, more stacked.
Yeah. And, people say do map 6 and stuff. I get it, but, at the same time, it's not worth it. So I'm trying not to complain too much because there's more I could do, but at the same time, I think the burden is on Kabam to keep my interest. Yeah,
they certainly do want to keep their game fun, exciting, and not too out of balance. Because if to fight at the high levels, you have to do 6x5 and Master War at the same time. Even the best of the best are going to burn out, man. You're seeing officers in master tier alliances, retiring, quote unquote, left and right, or going to retirement alliances and stuff. It's because any one of these seasons is stressful enough. You've got those donations, which I don't. We
sort of advertise ourselves as a retirement alliance. Hey, do you still want good rewards, but you really don't want to play the game very much? Come over here. We'll take you. You don't need to do anything. No minimums. 5x5.
Yeah.
Just. That's it.
Yeah, definitely. It's a lot easier, and I think a lot nicer. I think a lot of high-end alliances, that's why they've gone that route, and I think people are still dropping out. I think I suspect that some alliances have started going, because it's so easy, for alliances like ours to hit top 300 with 5x5. I'm seeing our rank dropping. I mean, towards the double digits. No, yes, because it's. Last week,
you're ranking higher every week.
Yeah, we were 149,
so
then we were 128, we were 101 this last week, and nothing has changed. Our precision is going up a crazy amount, but my suspicion is that a lot of the high-end alliances now are let's throw in a couple map 3s in there and hit top 300 comfortably, but still get more, T4B and alpha, T1A, here and there from those crystals. So
those crystals are legit. The map 3 crystals.
Definitely, dude. Definitely. It's watching some of Seaton's free to play openings. You're like, oh my gosh, so much alpha and T4B. Yeah. It's crazy.
Oh boy.
So yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, I agree. I think overall War is getting better, but these changes, man. I know we'll do an episode on them, but this will be interesting because everything we've said so far is pretending that yesterday they didn't just drop that bomb, and so now it's that may change everything if they decide to move forward with everything that way. So
yeah, I'm gonna remain cautiously optimistic. I think overall their intentions are not as evil as people say.
I agree.
I do doubt their competence.
Yeah, once in a while it does seem like they get a little bit out of touch. So this was a weird, out of left field thing. But I agree with you. I think they're trying to do what's right for the game, and sometimes you're just but how did you think this was one of those things? So yeah, I do think they're gonna they're gonna take the feedback and change some things. That's maybe I'm being optimistic as well, but I do think so.
Yeah, it's good. We don't want to go toxic. We don't want to. We don't want to call for hate or rage or anything.
Yeah.
But
and I think you and I are
yeah.
very much the same way in that sense. Like I think we this is a game we love. We appreciate what Kabam's doing. You look at their communication before 12.0 and after 12.0, and how they address things quickly when they can. Like they've made they've made strides, and they make a lot of effort, and they've got a tough job with this huge mobile game.
You can point out the bad, but you also have to recognize the good.
Absolutely,
the improvements have been made, and the 2 new champions every month it's a lot. I wish they would stop that personally.
Yeah,
we were talking about this earlier today. My own personal preference for the way a game like this is managed is I'd like a new champion like every other month, like one, and then I'd like every champion in the game, every single one, to be looked at in detail every single week and tweaked. Like I'm talking like 0.1% every, change tiny little things to try and balance the game a little bit. Because people want, and in a game like MCOC, 90% of those changes would be buffs. Maybe even like 95%. Like we'd only be talking like nerfs when something is just egregiously overpowered, and because it would be like a weekly thing, nobody would get attached to their god tier champion when they're being slightly adjusted, and then their Ant-Man is getting buffed significantly because no one's using him. Like they have all that use data, they should use it to prioritize a little bit.
I agree. I do think it's an aggressive schedule when it comes to that stuff. The new event quests too, new game modes, dungeons, all that kind of stuff. The seasons, I mean, even this war season stuff, dude. Like maybe it's pretty low maintenance for them while the season's on, but oh man, it seems like war seasons were just announced not long ago, and we're almost like we're starting season 3. The break's getting shorter, and seasons are getting shorter, and so yeah, it's an aggressive schedule, to be sure. So I think they're trying. I think they're making some great moves. I think there's stuff to work on, and we'll certainly cover that stuff. We're not gonna, it's not like there aren't problems. Certainly there are, but yeah, I agree with you. I think give credit where credit is due, but also kind of scratch your head when they make head scratching decisions like what kind of happened yesterday. So.
Yeah, yesterday was strange. We'll get into it for sure later on. But I think, what do you think? Do you think we should wrap it up?
Yeah,
maybe?
I think that's probably about good. I think we're about at an hour, and I think it was nice. I mean, we kind of bounced all over the place, but it was an intro episode and all that, and I think we'll get I think you'll, as the engineer, you'll have to keep us on track, because I kind of squirrel out and I'm like go on these tangents, and it's so fun.
I'll get better at it as we go. I'll get better at segues and keeping us to an outline of some sort. But to be fair, like what we said in the beginning, the conversation is what we're trying to do. Exactly. And if people don't like it, let us know. But that's what we enjoy, at least, and that's kind of why we're doing this.
And I think it's fun. I think it's the like there's so much to talk about, and there's so many angles, and it's I don't know. It's a lot of fun talking about the game and getting to do it in this longer form kind of content. And I think. Oh man, so much like fun stuff planned, and once we start getting guests on here too, I think it's a great, like taking a lot of what people love about streams, and making it more accessible, and you can do way more of these because it's audio. You don't have to get all prettied up and be on camera, and like you can just record a few in a row and trickle them out to people, and you just get content out, which is what people want. So hopefully everybody enjoys the format itself. Before we go, where can people find you and your channel and all that kind of stuff? Because I know maybe some of my audience will be listening and some of yours will be listening, so we want to make sure people know where to kind of come hang out with us.
Yeah, okay, guys. So, if you're following me on YouTube, that is my main place. You can find me at Idelest. Just look it up, Idelest. MCOC would probably help. I don't think I'm that big yet. I am on Twitter and Discord and stuff, but I'm not big on it yet, so I won't waste your time with it. So just YouTube for me right now.
Nice. And if you guys don't know Idelest, I think Brian covered some of this in his video where he was talking about YouTubers, but he puts out some of the best content when it comes to like champions. He's got like some rank ups that others wouldn't do, and he goes super in depth with these champs that are still strong, but they're not necessarily the meta, and so you don't see a lot of them ranked up, like the Sentries and the Phoenixes, and really powerful champs that you don't get to do that, and a unique perspective and a thoughtful one at that. So I think you guys really enjoy that. And as far for me, I mainly right now. It's the stream, 11 p.m. Eastern, every single night. The link, it's just youtube.com/Cade Plays. So CADEPLAYS. But every night we have a stream. We hang out. We go 2.5 hours, 2 hours, 15 minutes until Brian starts, and then we go raid him. And it's a good time. We talk about the game and do arena and all that. It's kind of become is that old slot that Joel was in that I used to love watching streams in.
Yeah.
I was like, this is a great time. Like I want to stream, not like before Brian's. Like that was when I used to watch him too. So
you guys should definitely check him out. It's a good time in his stream.
I appreciate it. Dude.
Probably the best streamer right now in the community.
You are too kind, my friend. So yeah, I hope you guys stop by and get in the Discord server and all that. All the details will be on the stream itself.
Okay.
All right, you guys. So we're gonna cut it, but I hope you guys enjoyed this. Remember to do the survey. We'll have that in the description of the YouTube videos these appear on, and the actual podcast, the iTunes description for this episode. And let us know what you want to hear. And other than that, we'll see you guys next week.
All right. Goodbye.
Later. Did you guys enjoy that? I hope so. We're so excited about the project itself. There's plenty more to come. So many ideas, so many guests, and the podcast itself will just continue to evolve, and we hope to cover a lot of the stuff that kind of gets covered in short form on YouTube, in a longer form. Lots of guests, lots of ideas, but let us know, again, what you guys want to hear about. Fill out that survey and tell us who you'd like to see on the podcast and what you'd like to hear. All right, thanks so much for listening. We'll catch you guys in a future episode.